Hey, listeners, welcome to Skew Universe. I'm your host today, Scott, and since this episode is going live on February 14th, we thought it might be fun to take a deep dive into Valentine's Day, the history of the holiday, and just who was this Saint Valentine guy anyway? Why does he like chocolate hearts so much? So let's get straight into it. 我们开始吧. Who was the historical Saint Valentine? The popularity of Valentine as a name and the incomplete nature of records from so long ago have caused some confusion due to conflicting accounts and multiple Valentines. However, it is generally agreed upon by historians that the man celebrated today as Saint Valentine was a bishop from the city of Terni in Italy. He was martyred in Rome, executed on February 14th in the year 269. 2 centuries later, in the year 496, Pope Gelasius I established the Feast of Saint Valentine to be observed each year on February 14th.
这段要说的就是 Valentine's Day 的来由，其实有很多不同的说法，但是一般历史学者都同意 Saint Valentine 是古代意大利的一个基督教的主教。那这边有一个很长的句子，我要教大家怎么把它拆成4个部分来解读。The popularity of Valentine as a name and the incomplete nature of the records have caused some confusion due to conflicting accounts. 所以我在念的时候，其实你就可以感觉到我已经把它拆成4个部分了哈。那第一个部分 ，the popularity of Valentine as a name， 所以 Valentine 的知名度。那第二个部分 the incomplete nature of the records 不完整的历史资料。第三个部分 have caused some confusion 造成混乱。所以 Valentine 的知名度、不完整的历史资料造成了混乱。那最后一个部分其实它会变成独立的句子 due to conflicting accounts， 尤其是整体说法有许多的冲突。Due to 它其实是一个 preposition 介系词，可以解释成因素为。那 due to 跟 because 不一样，因为 because 通常我们后面会接完整的句子，但是 due to 后面要加上名词。For example, I didn't go out because I was sick. I was sick 就是一个完整的句子，但是 I didn't go out due to the bad weather. Bad weather 就是一个名词。那在这边 due to conflicting accounts 就是有冲突的说法。
The true history of Valentine's life and death have since become interwoven with myth and legend. According to the commonly accepted stories, Valentine was arrested and brought before the Roman emperor himself, Claudius Gothicus. Although the emperor is said to have liked Valentine personally, after attempting to convert Claudius and later refusing to renounce his Christian religion, Claudius ordered Valentine's execution. But what exactly did Valentine do to be arrested in the first place? At the time, a Roman law existed forbidding young men and women from being married, for there was a belief that soldiers would not fight valiantly and risk being killed if they had a wife and a family waiting at home, and good soldiers were in demand. In addition to assisting Christians in many other ways, Valentine was performing marriage ceremonies in secret. As a reminder of their vows, Valentine would cut heart-shaped pieces from parchment and give these to the newlyweds as keepsakes.
真正重点是 Valentine 是怎么死的，那个年代也是战乱时期，所以当时的皇帝不让年轻男女结婚，怕男女之情会让战士想要苟且偷生，其实有点像 Game of Thrones 里面的 Unsullied 无垢者的概念。但是 Valentine 都会偷偷帮这些小情侣主持婚礼，就后来他被抓到。And although the emperor is said to have liked Valentine personally， 所以虽然皇帝本人蛮喜欢 Valentine， 但是国有国法，他后来是决定将他处死。Although 的用法跟中文的虽然但是是不一样的哦，因为你如果仔细看这个句子的话，它完全没有用到 but， 所以其实你只要将第一个条件写出来 Although the emperor is said to have liked Valentine personally， 然后逗点，然后加上第二个条件就 OK 了。Claudius ordered Valentine's execution， 他还是下令将 Valentine 处死。下一段还会有 Although 的另外一个例句哦，我们大家来仔细听听看。
After his arrest, a Roman judge named Asterius came to see Valentine. The judge asked Valentine whether he could heal his daughter's blindness. Valentine was able to, restoring the young woman's sight. Although Asterius could not free Valentine, the judge freed all of the Christian inmates under his authority, and he and his large family all converted to Christianity. Just before Valentine's execution, he is said to have written a letter to the judge's daughter, whose eyesight he had healed. And according to the legend, he signed the note, "From your Valentine." thus coining a phrase that many centuries later would come to be printed on millions of greeting cards and shared on a holiday bearing his name.
这段死刑前有一个小插曲，一个法官来地牢见 Valentine， 请求他治好他女儿的眼睛。后来眼睛治好了，但是 Valentine 还是得死。那死前他写了一封情书给这个女生，信的尾端写 From your Valentine。所以现在我们问 Would you be my Valentine？ 其实就是这样来的。那刚刚我说这一段也有一个 although 的句子，你有听到吗？它这边的 although 句子是 although Asterisk could not free Valentine， 这是第一个条件，对不对？然后加了逗点，然后下一个具冲突性的第二个条件是 the judge freed all of the Christian inmates under his authority。所以虽然 Asterisk 那个法官不能放 Valentine 走，他下令放了所有关在牢里的基督徒。
It is impossible to say for certain whether Valentine was secretly marrying Christian couples in violation of Roman law, whether he created a tradition of heart-shaped keepsakes, or whether he healed a blind girl and later sent her a note signed "From your Valentine." These are all most likely modern additions to the story, added after the saint's holiday on February the 14th had become a celebration of romantic love and lovers. There's little evidence to suggest that the Feast of St. Valentine held such meaning until many centuries after his death and after Pope Gelasius I's proclamation.
It is impossible to say 其实就是说这以上的故事其实都没有真正的历史考究，但是可以拿来拍电视剧。
It is Geoffrey Chaucer, the celebrated author of the Canterbury Tales, who's generally credited with being the earliest to record a link between St. Valentine's Day and romantic love. In his poem entitled Parliament of Fowls, written towards the end of the 14th century, Chaucer connects Valentine's Day to the belief that birds came together in mid-February in order to pair up and mate. This belief may be connected to the origin of the term lovebirds, which is used today to describe two people very much in love, rarely leaving each other's side. 2 centuries after Chaucer, both Shakespeare and John Donne were mentioning Valentine's Day and linking it to love and romance in their own writing. A genre of Valentine love poems would evolve over the next couple of centuries in England. Some of these, such as the popular cliché little verse, "Roses are red," can be traced back to lines first written in 1590 in The Fairy Queen by Edmund Spenser.
情人节真正的开端是因为英国诗人 Chaucer， 他在作品里把 Valentine 跟 Lovebirds 连在一起。Lovebirds 其实就像我们中文所说的几仙鸳鸯比仙仙的那个概念。到后来莎士比亚跟其他文青作者也跟着起哄，最后到了18世纪，随着工业革命的到来，情人节也演变成一个莫大的商机。
During the 18th century in England, couples would routinely express their love for one another on St. Valentine's Day by gifting flowers and various confections, as well as via handcrafted cards, known as valentines. By the early to mid-1800s, cards were being printed and mass-produced, and hundreds of thousands were going out through the mail each Valentine's Day. In 1868, the Cadbury Chocolate Company created an assorted box of filled chocolates. Known as fancy boxes, they came in a heart-shaped package. Since then, Valentine's Day has grown into what it is today, celebrated all over the world with gifts and chocolates and greeting cards, both printed and electronic. Millions of Valentines are shared every year. In the United States alone, tens of billions of dollars are spent each year to celebrate the holiday of this Italian priest who was executed in Rome in the 3rd century.
所以写卡片、买精致巧克力这些有的没有的，都是在这段时期开始的。
Veneration of St. Valentine by the Catholic Church includes the hosting of relics, the remains and other personal items associated with the dead saint. A church in Italy hosts the skull of St. Valentine. The skull is on display within a glass box, adorned with a wreath of flowers. The remains of the saint are also on display in a church in Madrid, including another skull. More relics of the saint are housed in churches throughout Europe, including France, Scotland, and Malta. In Dublin, Ireland, couples pilgrimage to a church that houses relics of Valentine each February 14th in order to have their relationship blessed. Taken together, these numerous relics would surely create a multi-limbed, multi-headed man of monstrous proportions. which, of course, Valentine was certainly not. Rather, the historical confusion due to multiple Valentines, the loss of church records, and the misidentification of remains have served to place into doubt which, if any, of the scattered relics truly belong to Saint Valentine.
其实欧洲的教堂到处都说他们有 Valentine 的尸骨，意大利一个，法国一个，西班牙一个，到处都是。到底哪个是真的，其实谁也不知道。那我的理论是，其实 Valentine 和那个法官是一伙的，他们形成了一个地下组织，专门帮助可怜的小情侣，因为他们相信爱才是真正能够给战士们最大勇气的力量来源。所以如果我是编剧的话，我就会编皇帝爱的其实是盲女，那盲女其实是因为她而瞎。那她会瞎的原因，其实是因为那个皇帝太爱这个女的，然后他爱昏头的时候没有看清敌人的阴谋，导致了意外的发生，所以他才会觉得爱会影响人的斗志还有理性，然后禁止所有的人结婚。Anyway， 这些尸骨都是组织的成员。
This same confusion around Valentine's history and life details is also one possible reason why Saint Valentine, patron saint of lovers and romantic love, is also the patron saint of epilepsy. Well, while lovers are exchanging messages of love, many other faithful, especially in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and northern Italy, still pray to Valentine to heal or ward off epilepsy. One possible explanation, some note the similarities between Valentine's name and the German word for fallen. Now, epilepsy has sometimes been called the falling disease. One town in northern Italy still to this day holds a church ceremony in which Saint Valentine's keys are distributed to children to ward off epilepsy.
那北意大利的一个小镇每年都会发 Valentine 钥匙给小朋友预防癫痫。我很喜欢 Scott 在这里写 ward off epilepsy。epilepsy 就是癫痫。那 ward off 有驱邪的概念。古代人和有宗教信仰的人其实都会觉得癫痫是因为脏东西的关系，所以 instead of healed in this context, you can also say ward off.
Well, that's all for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed our exploration of Saint Valentine and the history of Valentine's Day. Here at Skew Universe, we wish you a happy Valentine's Day. 祝大家情人节快乐! Our show is meant to help intermediate learners improve listening through interesting bilingual stories and educational content. 如果你想要合作，欢迎和我们联络。Thank you.